yesterday evening, there were some questions that uh, required some research. So I'm going to report for all of you and the people that are listening. Hopefully, our hostess from yesterday was is listening, but we sent her these documents anyways. One of the questions had to do with. Um, I'll read. In one class given by some other speaker, I heard that Lord Shiva is constantly meditating on Lord Ram. Is this so? If not, who is it that Ram is actually meditating on? Because we always see him in meditation, so who he's meditating on? And this, for starters, is a fact. He's meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's always doing like that because he's the Vaishnav, best of all Vaishnavas. And it turns out there are 5 different scriptural references indicating who he's meditating on. And foremost authority for followers of Rupa Goswami and Lord Chaitanya is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, directly within Srimad Bhagavatam, 5:17-16. This is in the Structure of the Universe section of the 5th canto. We find that Lord Shiva is meditating on Lord Sankarshan. Quote, Lord Shiva knows that Lord Sankarshan is the original cause of his own existence. Thus, he always meditates upon him in trance by chanting the following mantra. That's one. Then there's a commentary from Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 2. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states in his commentary that Lord Shiva is meditating on Krishna. The translation of that verse is also different than Prabhupada's translation of that verse. Sutta Goswami said, Krishna, upon whom Shiva meditates, became pleased. Having increased the Kuru family, which was destroyed by the forest fire of anger, by protecting Parikshit, and by installing Yudhisthira in his rightful kingdom. Purport. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. The answer shows that he took up ruling of the country only after seeing that Krishna was pleased. Krishna increased the Kuru family, which had been destroyed by fire of anger in the bamboo forest, by saving Parikshit. Just as bamboo burns by the fire ignited by rubbing of the bamboos, the Kuru family was destroyed by a war which arose from mutual anger. Krishna makes even Shiva, or Bhava, meditate on his pastimes, bhavanaha, bhuta bhavana. So that's the second one. That's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Shiva meditates on Krishna. A third is from Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, chapter 71, verses 85 through 88. Parvati asked, very celebrated section. Parvati asked Lord Shiva, what do you always meditate upon? Lord Shiva replied that he meditates upon Vishnu, and then recites a little Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra, which is different than the Mahabharata Vishnu Sahasranam, the Padma Purana version, which is a different version. And a fourth, so he meditates upon Vishnu. A fifth reference is from Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, chapter 73. Lord Shiva spoke the Ram Raksha Stotra, composed by Vishwamitra, to Parvati, which exhorts one to meditate on Lord Ram. So Vishvamitra Muni has some series of prayers called Ram Raksha Stotra. Raksha means protect, right? Ram Raksha Stotra. So so that's Vishvamitra's composition, and Lord Shiva in the Padma Purana sings it, which encourages meditation on Ram for protection. That's 4. And 5th is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Life of Lord Chaitanya. Majjhikanda 15, verse 23. Lord Nityananda says, to Lord Chaitanya, "Oh Lord, you are the embodiment of pure devotional service, Parvati and Sankarsha. Shankara. Parvati and Shankara meditate on you." 5. Now, I had never heard, my response is I had never heard that Shiva meditates upon Lord Ram, although someone had said that he constantly meditates on Lord Ram. It doesn't say he constantly meditates. It says he made reference to a prayer where Ram is prayed to for protection by Vishwamitra. But so a little research. And the main one, again, is from a Srimad Bhagavatam. He worships Lord Sankarshan. And it's not only in the 5th canto, it comes later also. Sankarshan, Vishnu, Krishna, Ram, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, then there was another question about, with a little research, I came to find out it's a popular thing. So at least in some parts of India, it's a popular thing. That Hanuman saw the universal form from the position of being on the flagpole of Arjun. Arjun saw, so Hanuman saw. Is it true? That was the question. And we had some discussion, and for sure, with a little research, I was unfamiliar with these sections of Mahabharata, but not just that he was on the flag, but he was present. Here's the references he was present. First is just directly from Mahabharata itself. The chapter 150. I'll read. There's an elaborate section on Bhima meeting Hanuman, right? Going up the mountain and Hanuman's tail is in the way. And at the end of that section, Hanuman says that he is happy to meet a human again because such association reminds him of Lord Ram. Thereafter, Hanuman asked Bhima to seek a boon. Hanuman said that if Bhima wants, he can destroy the Kauravas immediately. Bhima asked, this is the boon, "Please become our protector. By your prowess, we shall conquer all the foes." Hanuman replies, "I will do good to you by diving into the army of your foes, copiously furnished with arrows and javelins. When you shall give out a lion-like roar, then I shall add force to your shouts. Remaining on the flagstaff of Arjun's chariot, I will emit fierce shouts that will dampen the energy of your foes. Thereby you will kill them easily." So he was there making shouts. Now, that's just one section. Here's multiple sections from Mahabharata written by Krishna Dharma, the same one that we're reading, Ramayana, Krishna Dharma's Mahabharata. Here's one section. Bhima replied that he felt assured of success if Hanuman would simply lend his support and blessings. Even his presence on the battlefield would guarantee victory. Hanuman replied, when you rush forward for the fight, sending forth lion-like roars, I will add my roars to yours. Remaining on the flagstaff of Arjuna's chariot, I will strike fear in the hearts of your foes by my terrific yells. And he kept his word. So this is later, another few chapters later. Arjuna turned toward the other Kuru fighters who were closing in on him. He seemed to be dancing in his chariot as he released his gold-plumed arrows. Long lines of shafts were seen to fly from Arjuna in all directions. As he moved among the Kuru army, he appeared like a forest fire consuming dry wood at the end of the summer. The battlefield presented a dreadful scene with the mangled bodies of warriors and animals strewn about. Elephants screamed and horses whinnied in terror. Whinnied, Gopinath? The sound that horses make when they... that sound. Horses were making that sound. Whinnied in terror. The roars of the fighters and the blast of conch shells and trumpets added to the clamor. Above all these sounds rose Hanuman's terrible cries. So he was there. He wasn't just a mark on a flag. Arjuna had the prince take the chariot back to the cremation ground. When they arrived, Arjuna folded his palms toward Hanuman on his banner. The monkey flew up in the sky and vanished. And Arjuna hoisted the prince's lion banner again. He replaced his weapons in the bundle, high in the Sami tree. Then, taking his place as the chariot driver, he headed back toward the city. Then later, another part of Mahabharata, the warriors' standards, because that's the flagpole, rose above the troops like palm trees decorated with gold and silver. Above them all was Arjuna's huge banner with Hanuman at its top, shouting out his fearful battle cry. He was there. It wasn't just a mark on the flag. As the army advanced, Bhima whirled his mace and roared. He seemed to scorch the Kauravas by his glance. Even his own troops were afraid of him. Later, some way off from the fight, Arjuna's banner flew. He was surrounded by thousands of Kaurava troops. In the midst of those warriors, Arjuna and Krishna appeared like a sun and moon covered by dense clouds. The Gandiva twang and Hanuman's roar combined to create a sound so terrifying it paralyzed the Kauravas' horses. The next chapter, Hanuman suddenly leapt from Arjuna's banner and flew across to Karna's banner, which was emblazoned with a jeweled elephant's rope resembling Yamaraja's noose. The enraged monkey tore at the rope with his nails and teeth, screaming fearfully all the while. The horses of both fighters reared up and made that sound again, neighed angrily. Krishna threw wrathful glances at Shalya, who returned them in a like manner. And one more, Hanuman's activities. Arjuna looked curiously at Krishna, but he did as he was requested. After he had gone down, Krishna jumped clear of the chariot. At that moment, Hanuman left the banner and vanished. As he did so, the chariot suddenly caught fire without any apparent cause. In moments, it was a pile of ashes. So that was the other question. The other question was, did Hanuman have any direct involvement in the burning of Arjuna's chariot? The answer is no. And I could read the whole thing, but for sake of time, the scene is Duryodhana has been killed, and the war is now over, and the Pandavas went to their tents, and Sanjaya is now narrating to Dhritarashtra what happened next. I'll read. The Pandavas, those foremost warriors, O monarch, meaning Dhritarashtra. They dismounted from their chariots. At that time, Keshava addressed the wielder of Gandiva, that's Arjuna. Gandiva is the name of his bow. I'm looking at Gopinath. The name of Arjuna's bow is Gandiva. Gandiva. Drop your Gandiva bow and your two inexhaustible quivers. I shall dismount after you, O best of the Bharatas. Get down from your chariot now. This is for your good, O sinless one. Pandu's brave son, Dhananjaya, that's Arjuna, did as he was directed. The intelligent Krishna, abandoning the reins of the steeds, then dismounted from the chariot of Dhananjaya. After the high-souled Lord of all creatures had dismounted from the chariot, the celestial Hanuman, who adorned the flag of Arjuna's chariot, disappeared immediately. The top of the chariot, which had been before burned by Drona and Karna with their celestial weapons, quickly burst into flames. So, without any visible fire having been in sight, indeed, the chariot of Dhananjaya, with its 4 horses, yoke, and shaft, fell down, reduced to ashes. Beholding the vehicle thus reduced to ashes, the son of Pandu became filled with wonder. And Arjuna, O king, having saluted Krishna and bowing before him, asked, O Govinda, O divine one, for what reason has this chariot been consumed by fire? What is the highly wonderful incident that has happened just before our eyes? O mighty armed, if you think I can hear it without harm, then tell me everything. Vasudeva said, the chariot Arjuna had before been consumed by diverse kinds of weapons. It was because I sat upon it during the battle that it did not fall into pieces. Previously consumed by the energy of a Brahmastra, it has now been reduced to ashes upon my abandoning it after your attainment of the battle's objectives. And it goes on. It goes on. So indeed, Hanuman was there, not just a symbol on his flag, but he was present, screaming and to keep fulfilling his promise. But it had nothing to do with the chariot bursting into flames. And this idea, finally, where's the other idea? It's a common idea in India because people say it. I didn't know, but the research says it. We have no confirmation that Hanuman saw the universal form. Sanjaya saw it. Vyasadeva saw it. We don't know if anybody else saw it. So what's popular doesn't mean it's correct. So that's a report from yesterday evening. It seems that part is missing here. Okay. Okay, so now we're continuing Krishna Dharma's Ramayana. The 14,000 generals have been killed. It was a big battle scene. You missed it. It was yesterday. And one of the 14,000 soldiers escaped. His name was Akampana. And it's said elsewhere how he escaped. He assumed the form of a woman because Rakshasas can do that. And he ran. And Krishna doesn't fire arrows at people from behind and doesn't kill women. So that's how he got away. There was one Rakshasa named Akampana who escaped from Ram after seeing all his companions killed, Akampana fled to Lanka to inform Ravana of the news. Going before the Lord of the Rakshasas, who was the scourge of all the created beings, and who took pleasure in giving pain to others, Akampana fell at his feet and said, O great king, your entire army, which was stationed at Janistan forest, is now no more. Even the mighty Amkar and Dushan are dead. Only I have somehow survived. Ravana shook with anger when he heard this news. He gazed with his 10 heads at the disheveled and fearful Rakshasa lying at his feet. The demon king rose up quickly from his golden throne. He was pitiless and rough, and he felt no compassion for the trembling Akampana. As he spoke, he appeared about to consume Akampana in his rage. Who, with his life all but ended, is responsible for this rash act? He demanded. Oh, weak Rakshasa, what fool would dare antagonize Ravana? Even Indra, Kuvera, and the great Yamaraj would not be safe if they offended me. I can burn fire and even kill death himself. Under the protection of Brahma's boon, Ravana had become utterly conceited and arrogant. He considered himself unconquerable. Even the principal gods had been forced to retreat in battle against him. None of them could contradict Brahma's order. They would therefore not kill Ravana even if capable. That was what happened with Yamaraj. He was capable, but he was checked because Brahma made a benediction. He had thus ranged the universe, creating havoc and fearing nothing. He grabbed a hold of Akampana. Tell me the name of the wicked wretch who has slain my followers. You need not fear, for whoever it is will certainly die at my hands today. Akampana was reassured by Ravana's words. At least the demon king was not going to vent his anger on him. He replied, it was a man who carried out this astonishing feat of killing the Rakshasa army. He is the son of Dasrath, named Ram, tall and powerfully built. The prince possesses matchless strength. He alone annihilated the entire host of Rakshasas. Ravana listened in disbelief. How was that possible? One Rakshasa against a large number of men was easy to believe, but a single man killing 14,000 Rakshasas was incredible. Ravana hissed like an angry snake. Was this Ram accompanied by Indra and all the gods? Seeing Ravana's incredulity, Akampana went on describing Ram's power. It is difficult to even look upon Ram as he stands on the battlefield. His gold-winged arrows fall in thousands with the force of a tempest. He has mastered the celestial weapons and looks like death incarnate while fighting. Whichever way the Rakshasas ran, stricken with fear, they saw Ram standing in their front. No gods assisted him, O Great One. He alone devastated your army. Ravana snorted derisively. He would not be humiliated by any mere man. He thought of his own power. Thousands of years ago, he had gone to the Himalayas intent on performing austerities in order to gain unmatched material opulence. It was then that he approached Brahma, surviving on air alone. He took only one breath a day. When he failed after a long time to propitiate Brahma, he began a sacrifice. He cut off his 20 arms one by one and offered them into the fire to please Brahma. When Brahma still did not appear, the demon began to cut off each of his 10 heads and place them in the fire. At last, Brahma appeared before him. Ravana then secured his boon, which he now recalled. He had not asked for immunity to humans. But how could any human even look at him? Never mind fighting with him. Even the gods fled in fear when he mounted his chariot for battle. This Ram sounded most unusual, but nevertheless, Ravana was proud of his hard-won strength and felt sure that he would kill Ram without difficulty. Standing with his back to Akampana, he said, I shall go immediately and finish this Ram. Akampana was intelligent. He had already realized Ram's irresistible strength when he saw him fighting. The Rakshasa had thus stood back from the fight and made his escape. He considered that Ravana's chances of defeating Ram were slight. Therefore, he advised the king, when Ram is enraged, he can be tamed he cannot be tamed by any warrior. In my opinion, he could, by the force of his arrows, tear down the very heavens with its sun, moon, and constellations. He could stem the current of a flooded river or break down the shores of the ocean and deluge the entire world. With his arrows, Ram could lift the earth itself. Indeed, that illustrious man could dissolve all the worlds and then create them again. Ravana turned and looked pensively at Akampana. Clearly, Ram was no ordinary man. Akampana was himself a powerful commander of the Rakshasa forces. He knew how to estimate the strength of the enemy. The Rakshasa king listened carefully as Akampana continued. I do not think you know where this is going. Weaken him by taking Sita away. I do not think you'll be able to defeat Ram in battle any more than a sinful man can attain the regions of heaven. However, there is a way by which you can probably overcome him. Listen as I tell you. Ravana sat on his throne and leaned forward attentively as Akampana went on. Ram has come to the forest with his wife, Sita. I've heard she is more beautiful than any goddess, female Gandharva or Apsara. From all the accounts, she is a stunning jewel among women who cannot be compared to any other. Surely she is dearer to Ram than his own life, as he has brought her with him even to the lonely forest. O king, by means of some trick, kidnap Sita. Ram will be overcome by grief and either die or be weakened enough for you to defeat him. That's the game plan. Ravana pondered Akampana's suggestion. He liked this idea. Thanking Akampana, he decided to go the next day to find Sita. He first needed to seek the help of Maricha, the son of Tataka, who was well known for his magical powers. Ravana mounted his chariot, which shone like the sun and was drawn by great mules with the heads of fiends. Fiends? Gopinath? Fiends means like bad people, wild creatures. Fiends. That's what their heads were like. As he sat in his golden chariot, which had a white canopy spread over it, he was fanned by attractive maidens. His strongly built body was the color of glossy black gems. With his 10 heads and 20 arms, he resembled a 10-peaked mountain. As his chariot rose in the sky, he cast his splendor like a thundercloud with flashes of lightning. He's a good writer. The mighty Rakshasa moved swiftly ahead, surveying the scene below. Heading north toward the Himalayas, he saw beneath him the beautiful coastline. It was crowded with hermitages and graced with numerous woods and lakes filled with lotuses. Many Siddhas, Charnas, and Gandharvas, and other celestial beings sported in great joy in and around those lakes. Thousands of apsaras danced and played with the gods. Ravana saw in the sky, wonderful aerial cars like white mansions adorned with celestial garlands and carrying the residents of heaven. From the cars, it's like airplanes, came the sounds of delightful music, which enlivened the heart and mind. Passing over great forests, Ravana came at last to the northern mountains. There he found Maricha's hermitage. Defeated and punished by Ram, Maricha had retired to the forest and dedicated himself to the practice of penance. He looked up in surprise as Ravana's chariot descended from the sky. Maricha rose up quickly and greeted the overlord of all the Rakshasas. Welcome, great king, he said reverentially. I hope everything is well in Lanka. What has brought you to this lonely forest, inhabited only by ascetics? Maricha offered Ravana celestial foods unknown to humans. He sat him on a mat of kusha grass and served him personally. Ravan only looked at the food and said to Maricha, "My entire army of Rakshasas, led by the powerful Kara, has been destroyed by Ram, a son of King Dasrath, contending single-handedly and on foot. I am here to seek your assistance in abducting Ram's wife Sita. By this means only will I be able to overpower Ram." Maricha stood up with a start. "By what means? In the guise of a friend, have you been tendered this advice?" he said in horror. "Who have you offended so that they should suggest you kidnapping Ram's wife? That person clearly seeks to rid the world of the Rakshas's lord. Using you as his tool, he desires to extract a fang from the jaws of a serpent. Who is it, O king, who has dealt you a powerful blow on the head, even as you slept peacefully?" Maricha paced up and down, shaking his head. He had already been convinced of Ram's incomparable power. Hearing that he alone had killed Kara and his army only confirmed it all the more. He trembled as he continued to speak. "Oh, Ravana, you should not even think of staring at Ram, that lion among men, whose sharp teeth are his numberless arrows, easily kills small animals in the form of Rakshasas skilled in battle. Do not hurl yourself into the vast and dreadful ocean of the angry Ram, whose arms are its alligators and whose weapons are its tossing waves. Remain peacefully in Lanka, enjoying with your wives, and allow Ram to sport in the woods with his wife Sita." Maricha spoke passionately. He continued to argue against the wisdom of Ravana's antagonizing Ram. Ravan listened thoughtfully. He again recalled his omission to ask Brahma for invincibility against humans. The Rakshasa king asked Maricha why he considered Ram so powerful. Telling him about the incident of Vishwamitra's sacrifice, Maricha replied, "I was ranging the earth, my body appearing like a mountain, with a huge iron club in my hand. My might exceeded that of 1,000 elephants. I would roam about in the forest, eating the flesh of rishis, considering me more powerful than even the gods. The sage Vishwamitra sought only Ram as his protector. Ram was a mere boy at that time when I saw him in Vishwamitra's hermitage. I disregarded him, thinking him to be simply a child. However, with a single arrow, Ram hit and threw me 800 miles into the ocean, and he slaughtered all of my powerful companions." Maricha told Ravana how he returned to the forest again. He assumed the form of a shabara, a fierce 8-legged carnivorous beast capable of killing even lions. This is a different version because it was uh, assuming the form of a deer, the version that I'm familiar with. Anyway, 8-legged carnivorous beast. In that form, accompanied by 2 other Rakshasas in similar forms, he continued to terrorize the rishis. One day he again came across Ram seated in his hermitage. The Rakshasas, in the form of Shabaras, rushed at Ram, remembering their previous enmity. In an instant, Ram had lifted and strung his bow, releasing 3 gold-tipped arrows, which sped like thunderbolts. Maricha's 2 companions were killed outright. Maricha himself had dodged the arrows and retreated in fear. He then decided to abandon his life of antagonizing rishis and retire to the mountains. Concluding his speech, Maricha said, "My fear of Ram has made me adopt a life of asceticism. Indeed, I live in continuous dread of that prince. In every tree, I see Ram. He's in the forest. There's lots of trees. Clad in barks and wielding his bow, looking like death personified, standing with noose in hand. I actually see thousands of Rams all around me. Indeed, this whole forest appears to have turned into Ram. I see him everywhere, even in dreams and meditations. If someone speaks out a word beginning with R, I shake with terror. O king, under no circumstances shall I be convinced to again stand before Ram." Ravana sat silently after Maricha stopped speaking. Out of pride, the Rakshasa king still felt capable of dealing with Ram. He was not going to be afraid of a mere human. However, seeing Maricha's reluctance to assist him, he decided to return to Lanka and await another opportunity. He felt sure that his path would soon cross with Ram's. Soon after he arrived back in Lanka, Shurpanakha visited him. As he sat atop his 7-storied palace, surrounded by his ministers, his sister came and fell at his feet, wailing piteously. She rolled about on the ground. She looked up at Ravana, who sat on his golden throne, glowing like a fire fed with abundant fuel. His huge blackish body was covered by celestial robes, adorned with jeweled ornaments taken from the gods. His 20 arms, which could arrest the movement of the planets, looked like great tree trunks. They were marked by scars made by Indra's thunderbolt and the other weapons of the gods. He stared down at Shurpanakha with his 20 reddish eyes. Ravana told his sister to get up and asked her why was she lamenting. Shurpanakha, displaying her mutilated face, answered him harshly. Do you not see my disfigured face? What kind of protector are you, O king? I'm a helpless woman and your sister, but I've been humiliated at the hands of a man. Do you not care for this, O powerful Rakshasa? The Rakshasi, that's Shurpanakha, shook with fear and anger. She continued to address the demon king. Everyone reviles a monarch who is licentious and overly attracted to sensual enjoyments. Such a king who fails to properly attend to his state affairs is soon ruined, O Ravana. Are you not aware that you are losing control of your territories? Having formed enmity with the gods and the Brahmins, how can you expect to rest here in peace, enjoying the pleasures of life? You are childish and without any intelligence. You do not know what should be done and will therefore lose your kingdom before long. Sisters can talk like that. Hearing such a searing rebuke in the midst of his ministers, it enraged Ravana. Short-tempered and intolerant, he replied angrily, Tell me who has attacked you, wretched woman. Why are you afraid? Shurpanakha told Ravana what had happened. She also described to him Ram's annihilation of the Rakshasas exactly as Ravana had already heard it from Akampana. Ravana's curiosity about Ram was aroused. He said, Tell me more about Ram. Why is he living in the forest? What is his strength and his weakness? How has he overpowered the unassailable Kardushan and Trishira? After telling Ravana that Ram had been sent to the forest by his father, Shurpanakha described how she had personally witnessed Ram's power. I could not see when Ram took up his arrows and bent his bow, which shone brightly like a rainbow. I only saw the Rakshasa army falling like hewn trees. The demons resembled a wheat field destroyed by a downpour of hailstones. I also saw by Ram's side his brother Lakshmana. He too seems exceptionally glorious and is clearly devoted to Ram. Indeed, he appears like Ram's second half. I hold these two brothers to be practically unconquerable in battle. Shurpanakha, as a Rakshasi, possessed celestial intelligence. Like Akampana, she was able to recognize Ram's power, although she did not understand his identity. She spoke cunningly. She's a manipulator. She wants to get what she wants. She doesn't want to get what he wants. She's going to talk like I want you to get what you want. She's just manipulating her brother very cruelly. She spoke cunningly, wanting to incite her brother to confront Ram. I saw by Ram's side his beloved wife Sita, whose beauty is hard to describe. Her dark eyes and hair contrast vividly with the hue and luster of her body, which resembles molten gold. Her breasts, hips, and thighs are exquisitely shaped, and she shines like another goddess Lakshmi. Shurpanakha knew that her brother was lusty. He had absolutely no regard for moral laws and took pleasure in enjoying others' wives. The regard, the Rakshasi went on describing Sita. Her countenance is like the full moon. With her thin waist and delicate limbs, Sita is beyond compare. I've seen no woman like her in the face of the earth, be she a goddess, Gandharva, or Yaksha. Any man embraced with delight by Sita will enjoy a happiness greater than that of Indra. Without doubt, that peerless female who is of a gentle disposition, here's the punchline, would be a worthy consort for you. Woo, woo, woo. O king of demons. Ravana's mind was captivated by her description. He considered how he might win her. Arrogantly, he assumed that she would be attracted to him, the great and powerful king of the Rakshasas. But how could she be taken from Ram? Ravana was beginning to think that he needed to exercise caution in his approach to Ram. He listened as his sister continued. I wanted to snatch away Sita and bring her to you, O brother. She's a liar. But I was viciously attacked by the wicked and cruel-minded Lakshmana. No one but you, O mighty king, will be capable of taking Sita from Ram. Surely she should be your wife. Why not go to the forest and see her wonderful beauty for yourself? Shurpanakha longed for revenge. Sita was the cause of her being mutilated. The Rakshasa woman wanted the princess, to be taken from Ram so that both Ram and Sita would feel intolerable pain. Perhaps then Ravana would be able to overpower the grief-stricken Ram. Shurpanakha gazed imploringly at her brother. Snatch away the incomparable Sita from Ram. Then, standing in the forefront of battle, defeat and kill that human along with his evil brother. Ravana was convinced. He was already angered by Ram's killing the Rakshasa army in Janistan. Now, here was his own sister disfigured and humiliated by the human brothers. Ravana took that personally. He especially could not tolerate the sharp and taunting words Shurpanakha delivered in front of his ministers. He had to prove his power, and above all, he wanted to have Sita. Thinking again of Maricha, he called for his chariot. This time, he would not be deterred from his purpose. Maricha's refusal to help him was unacceptable. Ram mounted his great chariot and rose up swiftly into the sky. To be continued. Now, the commentaries go into detail about the cleverness of Shurpanakha. And where does intelligence come from? Super soul. So super soul was giving her the intelligence how to further Ram's Leela. Now, the unfortunate part of the Leela was the kidnapping of Sita, but the good part was the destruction of Ravana and all the Rakshasas. So Sita's kidnapping is next, but just focusing on Shurpanakha's role. She lied. It wasn't that she wanted Sita for Ram. She was going to pounce on Sita and devour her. Sita for Ravana. But she wants, butter up her brother. But she's insulting his honor in front of ministers. There's other things that she said in her little speech that, besides you're not protecting your own kingdom, you don't have a spy network going on. You have to rely on me. I'm your spy network. She's placing herself in that position. And with that spying and with that intelligence, giving him a strategy that also, so insulting him, uh, placing herself in the position of being the intelligence that the spy network that he had to depend upon for advice as the king. He had to take action because kings that don't take action, they'll lose everything. And the action was also based upon his lust. Now, why Akampana had the same idea as Super Soul once again. I mean, it didn't have to be two people, it could just be one. But Super Soul's at work, even in demons, especially for fulfilling Lord Ramachandra's pastime. And she poses herself as the you know the best person to advise and guide her qualified Rakshasa brother. It's entirely selfish. I mean, aside from not understanding what's of transcendental interest for someone, all of her words are just totally manipulative, and it worked. It worked because he was angry, and when anger sets in, it covers intelligence. Lust, when lust sets in, it covers intelligence. Some of the things she said, it's true. You've expanded your kingdom, but in doing so, you've made enemies. And if you don't do the needful, you're going to lose your kingdom. So people that are on the material platform, that's what's important to them, their kingdom, expanding their kingdom and maintaining their kingdom and upholding their prestige and honor and so forth. In the Ramayana that I'm familiar with, all of what Maricha said during that first visit was divided between the first visit and the second visit. In the second visit, he really got riled up and said everything, including going back to Lanka, getting together with two companions that have shape-changing powers also, and roaming again in the forests of India, devouring rishis, specifically in the form of a deer, carnivorous. They would move in about in a deer and then pounce on sages. Because that was a comment that was made by um, Lakshmana when they saw the golden deer. That's Maricha right away. That's Maricha because he already had the reputation of assuming the forms of a deer and distracting the sages and then devouring the sages, attacking and devouring. He was powerful. Be a mystic and very powerful. Then here's another very interesting comparison, an important comparison. Comparing Sugriva to Maricha. Sugriva, when he's up on Rishamukh mountain and saw Ram and Lakshman, who are they? He was afraid. But he made friendship with Ram because of Hanuman. And Maricha, when Ravana came the second time, he could have said, look, he's all powerful. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take shelter of Ram. You're going to get smashed. But he didn't. Sugriva did. Maricha didn't. Why not? The difference was the association of Hanuman, or the principle of association with the sadhu. Then you can become can take shelter of the Lord. Without that good fortune in life, then not going to happen. So association of Hanuman-like or representatives of the Supreme Lord-like persons, Vaishnavas, is essential. That's a Ramayana lesson. Okay, so let's see if there's some discussion. We can go back to any of these Hanuman on the flag or Lord Shiva's meditation or Ravana's lust. Any comments or discussion here? We're getting the microphone ready behind you.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj.
You're on.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. So, a couple of questions I'll take. First, on the super soul you mentioned for Supernka, the super soul, through the super soul, she talked to Ravana. Whatever she talked, she manipulated, and of course, that led Ravana to go towards Ram and get Sita, and the whole pastime evolved. That was my understanding.
That's what I said.
Yes. So
all of what she did from the very beginning, going after Ram to accept him as her husband, the whole thing. It's super soul directed.
Wow. So the way you said, even demons, you said super soul even directs demons. So now this is because it's a pastime, right? I'm trying a conditioned soul, it's modes of nature. It's not, if I do something wrong, it's not that our super soul directed me.
Well, Krishna, super soul gives intelligence to thieves and murderers.
In Krishna's pastime.
Not only in Krishna's pastimes. Here's Prabhupada's example. The cat is in the kitchen. And the cat sees some milk on the table. The cat waits till the lady of the house leaves the kitchen. She jumps on the table when the lady's gone so she can get the milk. Super soul. The thief is prowling at night. Don't steal now, someone's coming. Okay, now is your chance. Super soul. The intelligence of everyone is that Krishna is the source. Not only in Leela. How do the birds know to fly south in the winter? It's instinct. The super soul. Now, how super soul works is variegated. But go ahead.
Yeah, so on that note, there's a Bhagavad Gita verse which says, one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached.
Yeah, that's you become conscious of where spiritual intelligence is coming from. Supposing you don't have that. Super soul is not reached, but super soul is directing the wanderings of all living entities. Next.
That's perfect. Thank you, Maharaj.
You had two questions.
Yep. The second was about the...
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Couple of comments and then I have a couple of questions. When Ravana was thinking this is about Lord Ram, that he's just a human being, and he's no match to me, and I can take care of him. Two things came to my mind right at that time, that in the past, Wali in the past Wali had
overcome him.
Yeah. So I was wondering why he was thinking that nobody can overcome him. And I think there was another person, I don't remember the name of that, that he also overpowered Ravana in the past. um, when he was taking bath in the river, and and
Kartavir Arjuna.
yeah, yeah. So just a couple of thoughts on that. Um, and the other question I have is, demons looks like from this uh, episode that demons don't follow the codes of Kshatriyas.
They have knowledge, and they do when they want to, and they don't when they don't want to. I mean, for example, when Hanuman was captured, Vibhishan said, "You can't kill the messenger," and he followed it. So there's knowledge. He was in knowledge of the Vedas, but he didn't follow it. He followed it when he wanted to.
Yeah. And so, because he was thinking of kidnapping Mother
Yeah.
Sita,
And that's against the
yeah,
Dharma.
that's against the dharma, clearly. Um, the This is a little bit off the topic, if I may.
Yeah.
Um, the other day, I think it was few days ago, a question was asked online, but the reference was given Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse 18, that one should invest one's energy and intelligence in the pursuit of spiritual progress, and the material maintenance is taken care of as the pains and the pleasure, as the pains come without looking for them, so do the pleasures, or the comforts of life. uh, that's
I got the picture.
yeah. So my question is, let's let's say I'm thinking,
I'll just be a devotee of Krishna, and Krishna will take care of the mortgage.
that's one. That's one. I'm thinking the flip side of that is that I know that if I work 8 hours, that I'll make, let's say, a couple of $100 a day. If I work 8 hours, but let's say if I work 10 hours, then I can make $250.
I'm listening.
Which is the common and
Yeah,
very
yeah.
general mentality.
Yes. So what's the point?
So in relation to that verse, that everything has already been allotted, the comfort and the discomfort, how can I see it properly when I know that if I work 8 hours, I can make $200, and I work 10 hours, I can make $250. So I have extra $50 for my pleasures.
Two things. Uh, First is the statement that says, "From spiritual well-being, material well-being follows. Whatever your pains and pleasures will follow. So all your necessities will be taken care of." It doesn't mean don't do anything. It does mean when you do things, you're doing that for the same spiritual purpose. You're doing that for the Krishna purpose. That's not what your question was, but that was my response. Not like, you just do your bhajana kriya, and as householders, everything's just going to fall at your feet, or, your food is going to be on the table. Just do your bhajana kriya. Those other things that you do, the work and et cetera, is the subset of devotional service to Krishna. But now, more to your question, look at the big picture. And if someone is devotees are not lazy. If devotees are working hard for Krishna 24/7, and a materialist is working hard for material enjoyment 24/7, and the materialist is thinking, I work more hours, I'll get more enjoyment. But that very consciousness in the big picture of things diminishes their capacity to earn more, unless they're taking shelter of the personality of Godhead. Supposing they are taking shelter of the personality of Godhead, then that's added spiritual, more like added piety, and thus greater prosperity. But again, in the bigger picture, in the bigger picture of things, that 2 hours more, meaning more profit. I invest more time and energy in the material side of life, and I'll have more material prosperity. May work in the short run, but not in the long run. If that's my consciousness, I'm not thinking, let me do this for Krishna. I'm just thinking that in the material picture, then that prosperity that one gets by working 2 hours extra may very well mean you're going to have to work the 2 hours extra just to do the $200 an hour or $200 a day. If your piety account has been diminished by that material consciousness, then it will your happiness and distress has already been decided. It works like that in the long run. Look at the big picture, and that the extra 2 hours of work isn't going to change your happiness or your prosperity. It's your piety that will, not how many hours. Some people hardly work and they earn a lot. Some people work a lot and they hardly earn anything. It's connected to their piety and what's just coming to them. So if something is coming, so let's go back to the example. I have a certain stockpile of piety in my piety account, and if I work an extra 2 hours, I'll earn an extra $50 for that day. I'm reducing the piety account. When the account becomes zero, I could work like a donkey and I'll still not get anything. So that's not the only factor. The piety factor is the factor, and then there's the devotional factor beyond the piety factor. So smarter people, they not only work the extra 2 hours, but they're doing some pious things. So they're putting something in their pious account. But if they're not, then it's just depleting their pious account. No matter how many hours they work, it's just they have a certain amount and they're just spending it. And then there's the transcendental picture.
I would like to add, because I want to understand that. And
okay.
So let's say I'm a good person, I'm a okay person, and I want to believe in what scripture is saying, or especially this particular verse is saying.
Okay.
But I'm not there yet, but I
Okay.
want to believe in it.
Okay.
So at this time, I'm not concerned about the devotional service, or I'm not concerned about even the piety. I'm just looking at it from the
prosperity.
Prosperity point of view. So I'm looking at this verse, and then I'm looking at whether this fits the profile. And so if I'm making 200, if I'm making 250 versus 200, then I'm thinking, well, how Krishna is saying that that my prosperity and
is already fixed.
It's already fixed when I can invest a couple of extra hours.
That's been answered though.
Yeah.
The answer is, where is it coming from, your work, or is it coming from your piety? If you have a debit account, it's like that.
I see.
And you draw from the debit account, and at a certain point it's gone.
Okay. I get it now. I get it. Yeah, you just withdrawing it a little too early or faster.
Yeah.
A few years ago, Urmila Mataji came and spoke in KT area. That's where this question came, and I was in the background
Okay.
when I was asking this
Okay.
question. She mentioned, and I would like to see what your opinion is. And she mentioned that it's quality versus quantity also, not just quantity, but the quality also
Of
is a
happiness.
factor. Yeah. Let's say if I have $250 now, that doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy that
That's also true.
$250.
But the measure for the materialist, the measure is how many toys I have. Look at all these toys. I mean, you're enjoying. And somebody else comes in and says, "Ha, you should see my toys." Anyway, you get the idea. It's quantitative. It's both. Yeah. It's yes. Material happiness. You have something. Uh-huh. We have our little protocol. Wipe the thing. You have anything? You had some really good questions the other day. Okay, well, you're next.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Um, is there any history for Shupnika, past history of Shupnika?
That question came up already, and there isn't an answer. There is some explanation where in Rupa Goswami's writings, Jatila in previous life was Shurpanaka. But then elsewhere in the Gaudiya literature, I forget what the other source is. Somebody else is. I can't remember, but that was going the other direction. Who became Kubja, but not who was Shurpanaka before she was Shurpanaka. There's no. I did some research, didn't come up with anything. So I blank.
No, it's okay. Yeah, and next question was mine. In Krishna Lila, Shupnika will be Kubja. Is it true? Was Kubja?
Rupa Goswami says it, and I'm trying to remember who the other. There is another reference. I'll get back to you. I'll check it and get back. If Shamakund is listening right now, you can send a text message in with that answer. There's another reference that says who Kubja was other than Shurpanaka. That's it?
Yeah. And one more question. As you mentioned, Marichi used to be as a deer to, um, he used to devour saints and sages in forest.
Big for our online people, hold the microphone like it's an ice cream, like this.
Okay.
Unidirectional.
Okay. So how he used to devour sages?
How did he used to do it?
They were like destroy sages.
The understanding I have is he and his two cronies, they moved about in the forest in ashrams where the sages were in the form of deer. And the sages would see these really gentle deer and be relaxed.
Oh,
And when they were relaxed, they would attack them. Their fangs would come out and they would attack them and devour them.
I see.
That was the program.
Thank you, Mara. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have two questions. One, when Lord Ram devoured Ravana's army, why didn't he attack Ravana after he devoured his army?
Well, Ravana wasn't there. Ravana was in Lanka, and the army was in the forest, Dandak forest in Janistan, different place, big, big distance away. Second,
My second question is Ravana's sister. I don't remember the name.
Shurpanaka.
Yeah, Shurpanaka. I I'm not sure if Shurpanaka was trying to trick Ravana.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, if she was, then why?
Because she's a vicious person. She didn't care about her brother. I mean, she didn't care about her brother. She cared about herself. She's very, very, very. I mean, she's a Rakshasi through and through. She didn't care about other people, and so she had lost her nose and her ears, and she wanted to get back. And her brother could do it, so she wanted her brother to do it so she could get back. That's all. It was a means to get what she wanted. So she manipulated him to get what she wanted. And it worked. Well, at least he went to get what she wanted. Okay, let's go. Anything over here? Okay. Online?
A couple of questions from Sanchari.
Okay.
Number one, to clarify, Ravana went to Marichi before Shurpanaka came to him?
Ravana went twice to Maricha. First when Akampana came, and then second after Shurpanaka came. He went to Maricha twice.
When Akampana spoke to Ravana about Ram and specifically about Sita's virtues and hatched the plot to kill Ram, why didn't Ravana leave to get Sita then and there?
Ravana, was being advised by Akampana by some trick, tried to take Sita away. So the trickster specialist was Maricha. He was mystic, and he could do tricky things. So he went to Mr. Tricky. That's why. He could have done it himself without Maricha, but kings work through people.
Last question. When Akampana considered the chances of Ravana defeating Ram, you read that he thought it was slim to none, not none at all. I found that so interesting. Why didn't he dismiss Ravana's ability to defeat Rama immediately, especially after his own experiences in the battle with him? Is it because Ram, with all his power to him, was ultimately a mere mortal?
Akampana or Ravana?
Ram was a mere mortal.
No, but was it Akampana's calculation or Ravana's calculation that here's a mere mortal?
Akampana.
We don't know. I mean, he was seeing him as invincible, but somebody that's materialistic or demoniac person, how can you overcome a great formidable personality? Here's a weakness. You look for weakness, and the weakness is he's very attached to Sita. If Sita's gone, he's going to become weakened. And then you can attack him. So you can't defeat him, but if he becomes weakened by the loss of Sita, then maybe you can defeat him. It was just calculation. Thinking of him as a worldly person, you take away Sita and he's going to be less strong. Okay.
Next is from Snehavali Devidasi. Regarding Hanuman seeing the universal form, I'm not sure if this has already been discussed. Krishna gave spiritual eyes to Arjuna to see the universal form. How will Hanuman see the universal form without spiritual vision? Could you please comment?
Yeah. We don't know whether Ram gave spiritual vision, whether Krishna gave spiritual vision to Hanuman or not. Yes, it's required. Did Krishna give it or not? We don't know. It doesn't say that he did. It doesn't say that he didn't. Well, that you have to just do any more online? Yes, go more online. Then we'll come back around.
Next is from Amara Devi Dasi. Persons like Shurpanaka are instrumental in carrying out Lord's pastimes. How do we refrain ourselves and others from demeaning them who might not have this understanding?
How do we read the sentence again? How do we
refrain ourselves and others?
Refrain?
Yes.
Restrain. Same idea.
Yeah.
How do we restrain ourselves from
demeaning them, or ourselves and others from demeaning them who might not have this understanding?
Well, you have to be on a spiritual platform. Bad behavior is bad behavior. The person is not the behavior. And if you don't have a spiritual conception, you're going to see the person is bad. If you have spiritual conception, you can see the distinction between the bad behavior and the person. You can forgive the person and not forgive the behavior. Go ahead.
Another question from Amara Devi Dasi. Will Shurpanaka incur karma for her manipulation that she was doing by Super Soul's direction?
Yeah. For a thief that's prowling at night and Super Soul is guiding him how to steal, is there karma for that stealing? Super Soul is guiding the ant that's moving across the floor and the fly that's flying in the air, and Super Soul is guiding all living entities. Now, the ant on the floor and the bird that's flying in the sky, they don't accrue karma, but humans do. And the intelligence given to those humans can be, they're responsible karmically.
Next question from Girivaradhari Das. There are a few places in South India on appearance day of Ram Navami, they perform Ram marriage with Sita. Is marriage and appearance happen on the same day?
No.
What is the significance in performing marriage on appearance day?
It's tradition, local custom. That's about it. They're unrelated. Now, Krishna Janma, anyway, that's all. And customs are different in other places. And, somebody starts doing something. There's this two long stories about people that saw a priest doing something and they thought that's how you're supposed to do the something without going into the detail. You know the story, right? Put a black cat in a bag. So when the young girl, when she was having marriage, they had to have a bag and a black cat because that's what we're supposed to do when you get married. There was a cat moving about. So the priest knew you can't have the cat moving about when the puja is being done. So he got a bag or a box or something, put the cat in the box or the bag. So the children saw the priest do that. They thought, oh, that's what you're supposed to do when you have some ritual. You got to put a black cat in the bag. How it evolves that on Ram Navami, there's the celebration of the wedding. Who knows how it started? And then it becomes, generation after generation does it because that's what you do on Ram Navami. But they're unrelated. Okay, over here, something.
I've heard that not from movies or dramas on Mahabharata, but um, from some lectures, if I remember right, that even Bhishma saw the universal form of Lord Krishna. Is that correct?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
And if there is, that there, in any case, seeing Krishna at all requires Krishna's mercy to see him. So if someone saw, it's mercy. So it's not. We're not saying that Hanuman didn't. We're not saying he did. Although popular is to say he did. We don't know. And whether Bhishma did or didn't, there may be some reference that said he did or didn't. I don't know if it says that anywhere.
Could be coming from some other versions.
Could be some come from the air.
Yeah.
Because he's a great devotee. It's like Hanuman's a great devotee. So one could say 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah. Hanuman's a great devotee. Arjun's a great devotee. Yeah. Arjun saw the universal form. Hanuman saw the universal form. Why not? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We don't know.
Sure. Regarding Lord Krishna's pastimes, Lord Krishna is unlimited pastimes, so many pastimes. So there are many pastimes that nobody else can perform except Lord Krishna. And there are many pastimes that even demigods can perform. They have the capacity to perform those pastimes, like lifting the Govardhan hill and all that.
Yeah.
But there are 2 that I've heard, and I would like to know if there are more. That one is
I'm laughing. There's not, what Krishna can do that others can't do is without limit. It's not just 2. In principle, unlimited, and that others cannot do. Unlimited. So a narrator of Bhagavad Gita may have some special happiness in saying 2. That's okay. 2.
I would like to know your opinion on those 2 that I have.
Well, okay. I don't mind. You can go ahead and say the nice pastime, but my answer is still going to be what Krishna. We know from Rupa Goswami there are 4 qualities that Krishna has that other even forms of Vishnu don't have. So take those 4, the intimate, loving exchanges, not just nice loving, but intimate. The degree of intimacy of loving exchanges of Krishna is without limit. So how he plays that out is without limit, not just 2. And his flute playing, what he does with his flute. I mean, spend a little time with Dinabandhu and you find all kinds of interesting things that Krishna does with his flute. The flute becomes a boat and they cross the river Jamuna to get to the other side. I mean, all kinds of things. His flute calls the names of the cows. The names of the cows, not just the cows, the names of the cows. So, is there a limit? And who else can do that? Etc.
Yeah, I get the point now. Yeah. I think there are, even in earthly pastimes, there are many that cannot be performed by other personalities. So not just 2. I get the point now.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking of universal form and expanding himself into 16,000 husbands of the queens and all that. But I think there are many. I get the point now.
Okay.
Thank you, Mara.
Here we go, Gopinath. Second chance. Anything? No. Okay.
have one more question.
Okay.
I think I heard you say that then Ravana came to Maruchi to ask for his help to, I think, capture Sita.
I said what?
I think you said that Ravana went to Maruchi to get his help. Am I correct?
Ravana went to Maricha to get his help. Yes.
So I did. I heard. I think I heard that that Maruchi said that he's refusing to help.
Yes, he
Ravana.
was refusing
Then why was he refusing?
because he was intelligent. And here's what happened. This is the coming chapter. Next chapter. When he came back again, Maricha said, do what you want to do, but don't involve me. And Ravana said, okay, I'll give you two choices. Either you help me or I'll kill you. And Maricha said, I'd rather be killed by Ram than you. So I'll help you. You know, before he was asking, and then he was ordering, I'll execute you. No, he was a bully. And, you know, had been very powerful. He could do it. So Maricha understood he could do it. Maricha said, okay. Now, back to this other thing. Maricha, knowing that Ram was so powerful and would defeat Ravan, why didn't he just go surrender to Ram? And then after he's in this deer saying, oh, Lakshman, Sita, help. Why did he do that? Answer. This is no Acharyas, not me. Acharyas say he knew that Ravana would be delivered if Ram killed him. And so he did, because he wanted Ravana to be killed by Ram, and he knew he would be delivered. So he did it because he wanted Ravana to be killed. And he would be delivered. Anything else? And we're going to close up. One more behind you. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. This is regarding the last instruction you mentioned in the class about Maricha again having association of Ravan and Sugriva having association of Hanuman, association of Vaishnavas.
No, it's that Maricha did not have the association of Hanuman, and Sugriva did.
So the question is, it goes to the principle of association of sadhu. You did mention.
Yes.
The Vaishnavas.
Yes.
Yeah. So for devotees who are practicing, we have association of sadhu. Yeah. We have association of sadhus, and we receive wonderful instruction. The question that as we read scriptures and we read Bhagavatam and we see the deeper connection, affection, absorption, it's like wow. And it's not
it's wow. It's definitely wow.
It's not just Yudhishthira Maharaj, but it's every single resident of Hastinapur, or even to the extent Dwaraka, the prostitutes are like attracted to Krishna.
Yeah.
So the question here is that level of absorption and connection. It seems very normal in Bhagavatam, saying it's
yes.
But for us, it's millions of life. I'm saying the level of.
Well, in association of devotees, same again. Associate with those, and by hearing about those who have that quality, it nurtures that quality in us. That's what's going on. We're hearing about those who have this fascination with Ram. We're hearing it again, hearing it, and so it grows. That attraction for Ram grows, and it grows, and it grows. And attraction for Krishna grows, and it grows. But through the association of those who have that attraction, by kata, by sound. Okay.
And one final question on the same note. On the same note, and this is off topic, and when Krishna arrives in Dwaraka, Canto 1, and it talks about various people, including men and chandalas and even there is one text, of course, I don't know if you can, we were reading with the group as part of the daily, and the question arrows that looked, when prostitutes, were attracted to Krishna, and Prabhupada writes in the purport saying, any service cannot impede devotional service. And there was like within our group, of course, we are not advanced souls. They asked, this is not a profession which is adorable. It's a profession where
It's a profession.
It's a profession, but there's no sense control there. So it says even those people, that cannot be an impediment to devotional service.
Well, it's not an impediment to being attracted to Krishna, and it is an impediment in devotional service. And by that attraction to Krishna, the impediment can become removed. We have one way in the back. You got to hit the button. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I have a question.
Be kind to our remote people and speak right into the microphone.
Oh, like
Thank
that?
you. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I have a question with just, I thought about the Mother Sita. The Mother Sita went through a lot of pain, in what we see in Ramayana.
Yes.
Yeah, and Bhagwan Ram defeated Ravan and got Mother Sita back, but the public opinion was that you cannot accept her in your palace, her now. So, but Ram Bhagwan knew that she is the same as she was earlier.
Yeah, not tainted.
Yeah, but the public opinion, Ram Bhagwan, due to the public opinion, he couldn't accept Mother Sita, although he knew everything that.
It's a puzzle, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, Mother Sita, could she forgive Ram?
Oh, yes.
Because she went through a lot of
pain. Yeah. There's two documents I'd like to send you. It may be still right in my phone. And if not, I'll send it to you when I get back. But there's two documents that explain, address your question. Your specific is did Sita forgive him?
Yes.
Three things. One is in the science of rasa, what Sita was experiencing was ecstasy. In the worldly picture, it's called Karuna rasa. It's a secondary rasa. And Ram is the Lord of that rasa. And so there's lots of Karuna rasa, lots of sorrow in Ramayana, not only for Sita. I mean, Dasrath died. Anyway, a lot. So it's a amplification or a stimulation of the primary rasa. A nourishment of the primary rasa is the role of secondary rasas. So you say several times she underwent a lot of pain. She underwent a lot of karuna rasa, a lot of stimulation of her primary rasa. And they're going to say three things. Another is it's pastime. So because it's pastime, it's this mysterious thing where simultaneously, for example, Ram knows he's the personality of Godhead. And yet sometimes Ram speaks as if he's not the personality of Godhead. He was considering, he was feeling as if he's not the personality of Godhead. So that's the human like. But we should understand it's not that he becomes omniscient over a passage of time and stuff like that. He's always omniscient. And yet the Leela part is as if he's not. He's contemplating, he's feeling, he's, considering, considering if I go back to Lanka and Bharata has over the 14 years become attached to be the king, I don't want to disturb that. But he's omniscient. He knows. But he's teaching through his Leela about the ideal king and how to conduct yourself. And so that's an example of, in Leela, as Rama is omniscient, Sita is his pleasure potency. Or as Hanuman says, you can go, we discussed it on Sunday, I think, the prayers of Hanuman. Yeah, the prayers, Canto 5, Chapter 19, prayers of Hanuman to Ram. There's 8 of them. And 2 of the prayers, 2 of the 8, Hanuman says, there's not a question of Ram and Sita or Ram and Lakshman being separated. It's not possible. Means it's Leela. Because, it's like the sun and the sunshine being separate. Not possible. And if there's something that looks like they're separate, it's Leela. And so Sita's feeling something. That's the Karuna Rasa feeling. She's not feeling resentment. So this is the third part. She's not feeling resentment. He's her Lord. And it gives him, Ram, the opportunity for Lava and Kush to be trained under Valmiki, to be trained in the whole of Ramayana, come back and say it for the pleasure of all of the residents of Ayodhya. And Sita enters into the earth where she came from. There's no resentment, there's no forgiveness. It's love. Now, like Krishna left Vrindavan, and the poor gopis, life and soul. I mean, in the degree that we can't even think of. What were they feeling? But there wasn't resentment. No, they may sometimes speak like that. Oh, let's say some bad things about Krishna. He doesn't care for us. He likes the girls in the city, and he doesn't care for us village girls, and we don't want anything to do with him. And that's a loving expression. It's not a worldly expression.
Yeah, like as Mother Sita told Ram that I want to be your wife always in next,
Yeah, life after life.
When I will be coming,
She
I
will.
want to be with you as your wife, but please try not to, I don't want to go through this pain again, because I can't bear, I have been
I can't
away
endure
from you,
Yeah.
So Rishi Valmiki, he would have idea that what is going to happen, but the thing is, Mother Sita in much pain, she told Ram that, but I cannot go through this pain again.
When did she tell Ram that?
When
This is, I don't know if this is in Ramayana. This is from the Ramayana
Movie.
Yeah.
The drama.
Okay, well, directors of cinematography can do all kinds of things. But Sita's not going to talk back to Ram.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes they put something like that. Yeah, thank you.
When Lakshman told Sita, she was silent. If this is the desire of my Lord, then so be it. I mean, she didn't put her desires forward. No, her desire was different. But my Lord's desire, that goes in the first place. That Prabhupada writes about, this is just the mood of service, what to speak of, conjugal love. The mode of the servant, he speaks of Pradyumna. Pradyumna is Krishna's son. In relation to Pradyumna, it's written that if Krishna wanted Pradyumna to do something, and he wanted not to do that something, he would do that something because Krishna wanted, and vice versa. If Pradyumna wanted to do something Krishna didn't want him to do it, he wouldn't do it. That's dasya. What to speak of madhurya. So it's just more intense. But dasya isn't lost. Now I'm your wife. I don't have to be in dasya. It's more complete.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So directors of films can do what they want to do. That's one of the risks of people seeing those films.
I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
One, when Sita was captured and she was in the garden of Ravana, when Hanuman came and gave her the ring, I don't remember who gave the ring.
Hanuman.
Yeah, I that's what I remember. So when he gave the ring, and what Hanuman, I think he asked to take Sita back to Ram.
Yes.
But why didn't she go?
Oh, she gave 3 reasons. When you're taking me back, they're going to shoot arrows, and I might get hit. And when you're flying through the air, I might fall off. And the third reason is most important. It's Ram who should redeem me. So I'm trusting that Ram will redeem me. So I'll stay. Second question?
My second question is that Vali and Sugriva, I don't know why Sugriva kept running away from the kingdom. Why did Vali not like Sugriva around the kingdom?
He was puffed up. He thought he offended me, when it wasn't like that at all. He was a loyal brother, but he was puffed up. I went into this cave and he put a big boulder in front of the cave door. Sat on the kingdom, sat on the throne instead of me. He was unforgiving. I mean, he didn't take the time and trouble to understand that wasn't at all his motive. He was puffed up. Pride is, makes people do some really dumb things. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yeah, one online. I thought there would be.
From Amara Devi Dasi, a little quick clarification. Super soul's desires are followed by soul desire, or vice versa.
Well, the super soul doesn't desire. Super soul responds to our desires. I mean, his desire is we go back to the spiritual world. But the main business of super soul in the material world is people have some other desire and he's dealing with it according to their karma and according to their guna. He's dealing with it. Okay. One more for Gopinath. And one while you're giving him the microphone. Last one. Give it to him. A compliment, Gopinath. Most young people, when they ask questions, they start with, and you only did it once. You've asked a lot of questions. You didn't do the thing. That's a compliment. So now let's see. Ask your next question without saying
One more question. Is intelligence and super soul the same thing?
No, intelligence comes from super soul, but it's not the same as super soul. It's a form direction of the Lord, according to the language of that Prabhupada gives. The form direction of the Lord, intelligence. Okay, we're going to end. Thank you very much, Prabhupada.